All right, let's do it. Episode 320 of Together BHA. And welcome, Adam. I hope you're well. But I think the first thing I'm going to lead with is there was a real peculiar stat come out. I think it was We Are Brighton shared it. And this was our first away league game at the Stadium of Light since 2004. Knowing like how in and around the divisions we've been, isn't it crazy that we've managed to just pass like ships in the night so many years, like over 20 years?
That is weird. I didn't. If you'd have put me to the test on that, I would have probably been a good decade plus out on the guess. So sums it up really. But yeah, and you were there. You were there.
I was. It was our first away victory in Sunderland since 1981. Before either of us were born for a long time. That was just a random Twitter stat or something. I can't even give credit for that. I just
well, you know what though? I think this is. I do want to go straight to the YouTube comments because Tim Phillips, his regular listener, he's sitting there at 3 a.m. in Thailand. There's bugger all else on YouTube worth watching. So it almost feels like this is his last resort. He's listening to this purely out of this like sort of like, oh, like spite. Yeah. There's nothing else on. I'll put this crap on. But here we are. Thank you. It counts as a listen and a view. That's that's what matters. So appreciate it.
It's absolutely true. Yeah. I mean, how have you been? How was your 10-day break? We had the peculiar break given that the FA Cup now is mandated to play on weekends only. How do you think that has affected the team? Do you feel like that's made any difference whatsoever? Or do you think that was, how did you feel about the change in the way that this is being laid out now in FA Cup games on the weekend?
I think it's easy to overthink these things. And in the past, where I was like, we've got a break or we've got a succession of games, and you can take whatever narrative you want from it and just apply it to whatever the end result is. So this way we can basically say, oh, great. Yeah. The extra time off clearly helped the team, figure things out and get into a better place. But if anything, it's sort of outside of the Arsenal game, obviously, it's more just a continuation, I think, of what we've really seen of a different team coming out of the Brentford game. So we played Brentford, Forest. I'm putting the Arsenal game to one side and Sunderland. And if you looked at those four fixtures after we've been down in the depths on that horrendous run and said you would walk away from those with 9 points, I think any Brighton fan after the run we'd been on would say they were thrilled. You'd immediately know which game we didn't pick up any points from. And I think you could be happy. Like, we should be very, very happy. The break hopefully was useful, but if anything, I mean, we've got Matoma was injured. Good or for bad. We talked about that a couple of episodes ago, I think, about whether he should even be playing at the moment. And this is tough opposition. This wasn't an easy game either.
No, absolutely. I think it was their first 12 home league matches they had not lost in. And I mean, that's why they're not going down, right? That early home form of being unbeaten in their first 12 home games in the Premier League is quite something, like for any team, let alone a newly promoted team and it's not like they came top, right? Like they kind of scrapped through. So for them to have that kind of thing, I mean, obviously that's their third loss on the bounce now, which is they're kind of regressing to where many thought they would be at the end of the season, right? But they had such a good start. They've kept themselves up regardless. Yeah. But it still isn't going to be easy regardless. You're still going to a stadium a long, long way away. And they are there and thereabouts in the hunt for wherever the hell we're trying to finish at this point, right? Like they've got their hopes and dreams as much as anybody. So we were always going to have a tough game on our hands. And the Stadium of Light is pretty famous for its atmosphere. Absolutely shocking yesterday. I honestly was really shocked by how quiet the stadium was. I don't know quite what I expected, but yeah, I was really quite shocked at how quiet it was. The only time they made noise was when they thought Minte should have been sent off, and when they scored a goal, they got disallowed.
Well, despite that, I will say, let's give credit though from what at least I've seen online, and maybe the algorithm is just feeding me what I want to see at this point. But a lot of Sunderland fans were giving a lot of credit to the Brighton fan base, traveling fan base. So we turned out in numbers. Obviously, you were one of those numbers, but as you say, that's a long way away, and it's not often you get credit from the home fans saying you've got better support than what you were rumored to have. Goes back to what you were saying. They haven't seen Brighton fans for quite a while, and I think the reputation that we get is of a certain, I don't know, being a little bit more passive, not infamous away fan base, but to their credit, they called that out and said it was a good away following. So kudos to everyone that showed up.
Yeah, and I mean, especially those who are down in Brighton, right? Like I have the privilege of being in the Midlands, so nowhere I go is too far. It's just that it happens that my home games are quite far for every week. But like for games like this, I mean, it took us pretty much bang on 4 hours with a service stop, right? Like to just stop, like, and chill out for a sec. And but I mean, we overtook a couple of the Seagulls travel buses going up there, and they're setting off at 5 a.m. Like, right. Like, I'm sat home on my couch. I just got through the door at 9:30, and they're coming just past where we are with another 3 hours on. So, mega props to those who are more local to the South Coast themselves, because that's a long day. When you think you get dropped off wherever you get dropped off, and then you got to drive home as well, it's probably 1-2 o'clock in the morning before they're getting home.
Yeah, but at least get 3 points. So
always feels better, doesn't it? Yeah.
At least you get that. Yeah.
So I mean, let's talk about the way we lined up at the Stadium of Light. The only real major talking point really was the dropping of Mitoma for the injury he had, and Dunk coming back into the side as well over Boscagli. Minte started out on the left. Gomez kept his right wing spot. What did you think of the lineup? Pretty much as expected, or were you hoping to see maybe an Ayari come back in, given that he's back fit and had been kind of like an immediate start the whole time? How did you feel about Boscagli losing his spot?
I think you're always going to bring Dunk back in, if possible, even though we talked about Boscagli before. I think he's a great third option. I liked seeing Minte on the left. We talked about this in the last game where he had like really nice flashes on the left hand side. We're like, tell you what, maybe we should see him a little bit more there. And Herzler did it, which is crazy. It's almost like he's got no one that can naturally play in either of these wings properly, really, apart from Minte. So it turns out, just by pure powers of deduction, Herzler turns out to look like a genius because, yeah, Minte played good on both sides, really, didn't he? I think it was one of those games that allowed, and I'm not going to get too far ahead of the lineups here, but allowed Minte to do what he does best. Because it was in the first half, it was a very back and forth game. Like, it was way more open than I anticipated this game to be. Especially, I think you expect this, and we know this. We get these types of games normally against opposition that are further up the other end of the table because they think they can beat us up, and they'll play more free-flying football and try and get ahead. But I didn't necessarily anticipate this out of Sunderland. I thought this was going to be more what it was like in the second half, quite frankly. And that just lends itself nicely to what Minte wants to do. Outside of that, Gross and Milner completely fine with. Gomez on the right, sure thing. Hinshelwood played a little bit further up than I think we would have imagined, is the only thing that I would call out. And of course, the other thing is we're still getting we for it right back no matter what we try. At this point, we just don't even need to talk about it anymore. I think it's just until something changes, this is purely the norm. So I know it's nice to be able to talk from hindsight, but Hinshelwood, if the ball fell to someone else early on for that chance, now it was a good save from the keeper, but I wish someone else was there instead of Hinshelwood.
Well, I mean, let's talk about it because it was only 9 minutes in, right? So we're barely past the formations at this point. We've kicked off. It's been pretty back and forth almost immediately, and it was that man Yankuba Minte with a cross in, and Jack is just coming in totally unmarked, and it's not even a bad finish, but the save is absolutely unreal, isn't it? Gets that trailing leg to it, and even
Edwin van der Sar shades. You know?
Even then, it could have gone in, right? A lot of keepers, it could have just skied off of him and gone in anyway. But thankfully, it wasn't reflective of how our luck was going to turn out, given that Minte's goal was the weirdest attempt of everything. But it was a superb save. And I think it was only like the resulting corner that again almost got us a goal from the goalmouth scramble. So I mean, as you say, it started off very quickly, and something shortly afterwards. I think it was only about 14 minutes in. Sunderland went straight down the other end, and we had vintage dunk, didn't we? Clearing off of the line, right into Bart Verbruggen's hands. It was fast and frenetic that first 15 minutes, like crazy start.
It was, and yeah, it's very Dunk-like to do that. Also very Dunk-like that not that I can't remember exactly when it was. Not that long after that, he then sort of passed the ball to a Sunderland player, gave them a really good opportunity to have a go on target. But yeah, it was that piece there. That was excellent play. It was it was a really good ball in, as you say, incredible from the keeper. I think the Hinshelwood thing though is more of a representation of this bigger problem that we continue to have, right? Which the team just does not look like it has its shooting boots on in general. And I know we've just come away from a win here, but our XG was actually pretty, wasn't it like 1.5 something in this game, give or take? 1.57.
Pretty good, yeah. And Sunderland's was less, 0.97, I think it was.
So they were, I mean, and I say this right, they were even worse because I think they had 14 shots to our 12, and they only had an XG, as you say, of 0.97. But our shot conversion rate yesterday, I think, was 8%. So our ability to just put the ball on target, Pascal Gross was guilty of it at one point. I think the ball came out to him. He smashed it with his left peg when there was a bit of a scramble. That was off target. Diego Gomez skied one over the bar. That was a really good opportunity from a cross in from the left-hand side. But this was a game where we could have absolutely, I mean, frankly, the game could have been like 4-2 at certain points. But we do need to sort that out, this finishing situation, because we're not always going to have a pinball goal from Minte that's going to go in these types of scenarios. And we're not always going to get that offside call, because that was dicey for the Sunderland goal that wasn't.
It was, but it was definitely offside, right? And was more so than quite a few of the offsides we've seen lately, where they kind of like look at the depth of the sleeve to the arm, see if it's offside or not. This one, at least, he was like half a body off like through that line, which was a refreshing change, at least, to see.
It was, but it was quite off-putting on the TV replay, because they paused it at the point after on like the second touch when the ball then went over, when it absolutely was an offside. And then you had to go back and look at when the ball was actually just played from the free kick itself. No, oh, hold on. Yeah, that was offside. It was a good move by the defensive line to move up and get the offside trap working. But yeah, I certainly felt when I was watching it back, I was like, hold on, there's no offside there, until I went back to it. But yeah, I just realized, I'm looking through the highlights while we're talking too, there was another really good Hinshelwood chance outside of that one. And no, it's 24 minutes in. He had the ball right on the bloody penalty spot.
Yep, it was a beautiful pass as well. I can't remember who it was of how it came about, but
it was Minte on the right side.
Was it? But that one I thought was more a goal than the other, because it was, I think it was, was it Minte?
No, it was Danny Welbeck that played the ball in. It was Welbeck coming out to the right. Yeah, sorry.
And he just kind of took a touch, didn't he, and kind of like cut back almost, and then just laid it off. And it was like, from our vantage point, I sent the pictures to you guys, like we were very high.
They shove you right at the top, don't they?
Yeah. But it's a lot easier to make an atmosphere there than it is somewhere like West Ham, for example, which is like very high, but also just, I mean, you actually went to West Ham, didn't you? It's so vast almost, like you can't generate an atmosphere because you're so far apart. Like the segments even are far apart.
By the pure sort of physics, you can't create an atmosphere at the London Stadium. There's just no way.
Nah, disgusting. But it's a good one for Sunderland. Like the roof is quite low. It's very easy to get an atmosphere going. But when you're that high up, like the depth perception was just messing with it. It wasn't just me, because the people all around us were like celebrating before it had gone in. Like the first one that was saved by Elborg, who I thought played really well yesterday, other than looking very dicey with the ball at his feet.
Both keepers were good yesterday.
Yeah, they were. Bart was fantastic as well. Except, here's my 2 points. Elborg with the ball at his feet was a disaster waiting to happen when we started pressing him and realized that. We did a really good job of pushing him then at that point, and it stopped. Like they either didn't go back to him or he just smashed it away as quickly as possible. And there was 2 times, both one at our end and one at their end, where I thought, why on earth has Bart Verbruggen stayed on his line? Where there's these really high balls, and you've got Van Hecker and Robbie, for example, like arguing over it. And like, it's just so simple that Bart should have just came out and grabbed it. But it's obviously something he's been told to do, it feels like, because he's just staying rooted to that spot, and you've seen him come out before. So I don't like it, though, because there was that first half opportunity where he actually had to pull off a pretty good save from a header in that position where he absolutely should have just come and claimed it. But I thought both keepers played really well, but the depth perception was a nightmare up there. So we couldn't tell how close things were or not. But that Jack one where it was cut back, I think everybody assumed it was in, because even from our perspective, he had the whole goal to pick out. It was just a one-on-one opportunity that you see them do in match warm-ups all the time. And he just slots it past them all the time and then just puts it straight at him.
Well, it's almost like he's a sort of defensive midfielder / right back that's found himself playing in a number 10 role. Yeah, it's just almost the depth perception issues you had felt like he had them, based on what he was doing with it, which is a bit of a shame because, on one hand, you've got a guy that is getting himself into positions that he's sprinting onwards unmarked a couple of different times. Like to get into those positions is pretty impressive. Like if you can actually find his shooting boots, then this is going to be a weird situation we have where he can sort of play everywhere. Like if he can figure out how to shoot, he could play right back, left back, defensive midfield, central midfield, attacking midfield, which ain't half bad, really, if you can do that. But that's a big if.
And he's English and already representing the national team. So he's like the homegrown thing is just like the cherry on top of your like obnoxious like check boxes you have to put for any squad, right?
Exactly.
Dignity, though, I want to just talk about this because I said this almost verbatim to the missus at halftime, and the good thing that we can take from this is that we are now making the chances, and that is undeniably a good thing. And I said something very similar to Britt in that, like, at least we're playing good football. It looks like we're playing pretty good football and we're generating opportunities. We've had the keeper make an unreal save and Jack absolutely fluff one, but we're making them, right? And for long stretches of those games, the Villa game, like, and a bunch of the home games that I went, like, there was no generation of chances. The Palace one especially is the most egregious, where the heat map actually just stops at the edge of the box, and we never actually.
That was so awful, that game.
But like, I think Dignity in the chat is right. Like, we are making the chances, and sooner or later they will tell, and it becomes more and more of a potable situation at that point, doesn't it? Different styles, but like as soon as we start finding the net, things will turn good. Which I felt like we said under Potter a lot. Whereas from December through half of February, that was not the words coming out of our mouths at all, right? Or the other 30,000 at the Amex. So no, I think there is reasons to be encouraged by that.
I mean, you know why? One potential reason. You had James Milner on 85.9% pass accuracy, Pascal Gross on 84.9% pass accuracy. Between them, they touched the ball 20 times, give or take. So that ain't bad. Like, that helps. That helps when you have these two guys conducting play from the center and then allowing other stuff to happen around them. Hinchwood's pass accuracy was absolutely diabolical, but he made the most key passes in the game out of anyone else on the team, and I think out of anyone else on the pitch, with 3. So you've got the right pieces there that's allowing some of the other stuff to happen. And with Minte too, Minte felt like he was a part of a lot of stuff that was happening. The width that he helps create, especially when you don't really have that width on the other side with Diego Gomez, is pretty pretty crazy. Like this just felt watching it. I'm talking about the first half. I'm not talking about the second half. It felt like a game where the pitch was just massive. And I'll be interested to what you thought based from your vantage point, because it probably just felt massive just by product of being so far away. But it just felt like a wide open pitch. You know, sometimes you play these games, and maybe Arsenal's a decent example. You just feel like everything's contracted and everything's pushed into the center and you can't move and nothing happens. And this felt expansive.
Yeah, I agree. And actually, in the second half, at times, it felt even more so as things started to get stretched and you were like, Sunderland were one pinging passes and they were going from their back line to their front line almost immediately. And then two touches later, like Minte has it and he's like running into wide open grass. it was even worse as the game went on. And Sunderland had a little run themselves at the end of the first half, but I think we probably could have felt pretty hard done by not going in at the break 1 or 2-0 up even. And the second half kind of started a little bit quieter, but I think it was 59 minutes in. We get a corner, and possibly the worst Minte corner, possibly his worst contribution to that game entirely was his actual initial corner, wasn't it? If you've got the highlights on there, go back.
I'm watching it right now.
That corner, it's but it bounces back to, I think it's Gross who takes a shot. Yeah, and then it comes back to Minte, who now can create a chance. And from our vantage point, the goal is like here, right? You know, those when you go to like those like play places as a kid and you go down like the vertical slides.
Yeah, right. I didn't go down those. They terrified me.
But it was like looking down one of them. So like we were literally having to like look down if we were like trying to see this goal. And I could not figure out how the ball had ended up in the net. And I didn't feel as stupid after watching extensive replays, because it took 2 or 3 replays and a good angle to actually see even more so what the hell happened. But it was also kind of like quite nice, right? Because the Sunderland player pushed him off balance, but it ended up being so that he would just ski whiff the ball in the back of the net. And special mention to Diarra, who went down trying to buy a foul from absolutely nothing, refused to help his team throughout the entire defensive phase of football, and didn't get the goal ruled out.
Yeah, absolute legend. And there's one of those ones as well where he's, you know, when you've gone too deep on something and he's like, he has to see it through. So he stayed down for a while afterwards because he couldn't just spring back up.
No,
like, all right.
No.
I've got to commit to this. Like, I'm now get everyone on, get the team doctor on. Yeah, you had to stay down. You're right. So the corner was one of the worst corners you'll see, apart from when people just like spank it immediately out of touch. Hits the first man at his feet. Like, how do we even do that? And as you say, it goes back out to Gross, and Minte is trying to run backwards because he's more like, I'm just going to get out of the way and I don't want to be offside if I get the ball back. Like, he's not even trying to really do anything. And yeah, as you say, it's not the best goal you'll ever see, but one of those ones where in your head you justify it because, like, you tell you what, we absolutely should have had a goal in that first half. And to go back to what you said, in the first half, we had 60% of the ball. Again, we're away from home against a team that, although not recently, earlier on in the season, as you called out, were incredible at home. 60% possession, 1.25 XG to their 0.42. 293 passes to their 182 and 10 tackles to their 3. Like, that's a dominating first half away from home. We deserve that. We deserve a stupid goal. So I don't feel bad about that at all. And then it was a curious game after that, wasn't it?
Awful, really. Like, on the grand scheme of things, Sunderland didn't look like scoring at all, yet still came close once or twice. Through nothing more than League One level hoofing into the ball box as high as possible. Like, it just felt like everything came from just, I think it was Minte's actual clearance at one point from a long throw that just went so high. And I was begging for Bart to claim it, and it landed on whoever it is head, and he actually made a good save. But nothing really seemed to get generated other than just grab a set piece. And I really enjoyed our away contingents, like, "Are you Arsenal in disguise?" Chan. It was very funny because it almost felt like we were watching a team at quite a low in terms of their home form. They're kind of struggling now, and they've kind of hit this horrible piece, and they're just like, just get a set piece and get the big lads in. Go back to championship ball, fellas. Like, just get a set piece, get the big lads in, and grind out a goal. And I don't blame them for it, right? They got the players for it. But unfortunately for them, Van Hecker and Dunk love those games. When you see those two get into
100%.
trouble, like when you see those two in trouble, it's against these incredibly mobile, quick, aggressive, strong forwards, not lumping it in the box all the time. If you're going to lump it all in the box all the time, like Dunk is going to eat you up every day. And Van Hecker is so strong. Like he is going to relish the idea of going head to head. If you've got a guy who like wants to pick a fight actively with Erling Haaland 2 times a year, like you know that like he's going to be fine just anywhere, like in terms of these big physical battles. So they kind of just played into our hands in the end. And I almost think that's the Hurtsler way at this point. Encourage ugly attritional football after we get a lead, because he's confident in this team being able to see that out.
Well,
rightly or wrongly.
This game had 26 total shots and 8 were on target. It was not prime footballing display in that regard, but yeah, there were a lot of pot shots that they were relegated to in some ways. I will say though, on 67 minutes, I need to understand what was going on, because I referred to this a little bit earlier with Diego Gomez having a really good opportunity to score. And you've got Minte just cantering down the left-hand side with 2 defenders trying to chase after him. And he's just lightning quick. And he plays an excellent cross into the box, which turns out when you have a left winger on the left side with the left foot, they can do these things. It's a crazy situation that arises when you're not asking them to cut inside. And the ball comes into, obviously, the guy that's pretty much on the penalty spot, number 9, Matt Sweefer. What's he doing there? Why is he there? Why is Matt Sweefer there? We're 1-0 up, trying to defend a lead 67 minutes into a game away from home. Matt Sweefer is the furthest man forward.
And he just kind of passes it to the keeper, doesn't he? If I remember rightly.
No, Weefer gets the ball, passes it straight to Diego Gomez, who then leans back as far as a human can lean and just punts it into the stand.
Trying to give us a match ball up top.
Yeah, just like, what are you doing, mate? Like every bit of technique that you learn. I feel like I always remember every time anyone used to take a shot, I just see Thierry Henry talking in the studio, just saying, here's what you do, don't lean back. And I just see him like rolling his eyes at this because the technique was just disastrous. But yeah, that should have been a goal.
Should have been. And I mean, that's why you talk about 4 or 5 goals we could have had. Like, if we can figure this out, it would be lovely. But you're right. I thought he played quite well, actually, yesterday. There was a couple of tackles, especially late, where he just didn't care, just went in. Like, again, I think he relished that physical fight as well, right? Like, he's a big lad. I think he quite enjoyed getting stuck in, and having an ugly game of football for that last half an hour. I think it suits him as well a great deal. I think it honestly suits all the back four. Kadioglu is of the smaller size, stature, right, compared to the other 3, but he doesn't care. Like, he's quite happy to scrap with any winger that throws it at him.
I continue to love watching him play football as well. I really do. I don't think he was man of the match yesterday, but he could. I don't hate the idea of giving it to him at any point, because he's always doing something that I'm enjoying watching. Even if the goal that they got disallowed, the defending was really suspect, especially from him for that, because they were playing still under the impression that the game was going on, and they made an absolute pig zero of it. But anyway, outside of that, I thought he was really, really good as well. Matt Sweefer, not the best, not the worst on the pitch, which I'm fine with that. I'm fine if that's the review of him every week.
Yeah. A solid 7 out of 10 every week would be fantastic, wouldn't it? Like, I think everyone would take that.
Yeah, until we at some point decide to invest in an actual right back. But
Yeah.
TBD.
Dignity in the chat saying like our mini slump being stopped by the influence of our old experienced heads, and I made the same point to you guys after the Forest game, where they were actually our two oldest starting 11s in Premier League history, and I haven't had a chance to look now, but thinking about it, this one probably is not far off either. But the swapping of Mitoma, Minte will drag it down a little bit, but they continue to be like a big help, right? Like keeping this lot together. And like Dignity says, like proves the experienced pros can be priceless when they're played appropriately. And Doom also noting it just recently, just how we're kind of really mixing that experience. What are your thoughts on that midfield group of like? I mean, the longevity is not there, right? Like we are unfortunately going to have to look at almost every single one of those players in the summer and build a replacement plan pretty sharpish. Welbeck 35, Dunk 35, Milner and Gross in the middle of the park at 35 and 40. This has to be seen as a stopgap, doesn't it? Like this is a short-term band-aid we're putting on right now, and you cannot go into next August seeing any of these players as definitely viable, because you just never know. You never know when any of those players at that age hit the drop, right? Like we all, like it happens to everybody. At some point, every single one of those four will hit the drop. Whenever it is, we don't know, right? Like Bruno went on until he was 40 as well, right? Like you don't know when it will be. But as Doom says, right now, you're not starting another midfield duo, are you? Outside of Gross and Milner, they've actually played themselves into the point of like you have to be. Well, and where was Faleba yesterday? Is he hurt? Not even on the bench.
Yeah, that's a fair point. We said last recording we'd happily have Gross and Milner be the players that play in that pivot because they give a level of solidity defensively and creativity as well, and just the ability to pass the ball. We just talked about how from a stat standpoint, they were incredible from a passing perspective, but they are a combined age of 74. Your midfield pivot has a combined age of 74, and they're trying to create chances for a guy that's 35. So, I mean, if you just want to add those numbers up, it's not great, is it? And our average age of the starting 11 yesterday was 27.8. Sunderland's was 23.9. And there's quite a skew there as well, because outside of Xhaka on the Sunderland team, they didn't have a single player in their 30s. Not one. There's Xhaka at 33 and Alderete at 29. Outside of that, 22s and 20s and things like that. And yeah, we've got this grouping of OAPs that are, and let's say it though. I'm putting Danny Welbeck aside from yesterday because I don't think he was, the best player on the pitch by any stretch of the imagination yesterday. But I think Pascal Gross was very good. I think James Milner was very good. I think Lewis Dunk was excellent. So yeah, you have to draw a conclusion here that your older players have brought something to this team to just calm everything down and give it a little bit more maturity. And is this Hurtzler learning? Well, yeah, because not that long ago, Harry Howe was starting. He's just throwing kids to the wolves. Is Yasin Ayari going to get his spot back? I don't know. Root has fallen potentially a little bit out of favour. A guy that was one of the first people on the team sheet not that long ago, when fit, is now not even coming on as a sub in this game. So if it's working right now, great. But as you say, Milner's going to break at some point. Danny Welbeck's going to break at some point in this season, probably. And do you have a replacement even before next year for those players? Not really.
I'm going to be frivolous here and say like that, but at this point, who cares? We are on game 30. We've got 8 to go.
Well, no, you should care because we've now created the mini league. The mini league has
Yeah,
been
I knew you
great.
were gonna say this. I knew you were gonna say this European stuff. But like at the end of the day, like if Milner goes down, I think we do, right? Like Iari is definitely good enough and was doing well enough before he got hurt, right? It just so happens that Milner came on after Baleba got booked against Villa and has literally been perfect ever since. Like Iari has no power over that. Like that's just something that's happened to him with no real chance to recover from. When Milner inevitably gets crocked, Iari will come back in and probably do the same. Take the spot and not give it back. I think that's going to be inevitable for those two. But yes, we have talked about the Danny Welbeck problem ad nauseum, right? Where if he goes down, there is no one. And as Doom noted, and something I definitely wanted to talk about today, Costolas absent from the squad for the second time running. And Hertzler in his pre-match conference said about his attitude not being quite good enough. Was at an Olympiacos game last week.
That's not great, is it?
No, where has this no dickheads policy gone with this research we do? Because we seem to be bringing in a few, don't we?
Well, let's be. I would say in his defense, I don't know the guy in any capacity, but this strikes me as one where it's purely like a maturity thing. He doesn't seem like a bad kid, but I think this is one of those ones where Hertzler has to come in and say, "You do not do that." So you're being dropped. Do that again, and you don't play. That it feels like one of those discipline, as opposed to you're just an absolute prick that doesn't deserve to play. And there's plenty of those footballers around, sure.
Well, it's the Enciso effect, right? Like he was also another one we brought in that actually could not be cured of the attitude issues.
Nothing wrong with as a footballer, and he's doing well at the moment. That's not the problem. But yeah, the attitude not good.
Yeah, well, he ain't doing well either, is he, Enciso? But
I thought he was doing quite well. I thought who's the other guy's doing really well, isn't he?
Barco is
doing really well.
Very well, yes, but not so much Enciso, I don't think. Buonanotte again, not starting for Leeds, not even getting.
Buonanotte's finished. I don't know what's happened to him.
Bizarre. Not even getting starts. Not even getting on the bench. I don't think today.
No, hold on. I knew I was right. Enciso is playing well.
Is he?
Yeah. 12 goals and assists this season. 6 goals in 4 matches.
Look at that. He stayed fit.
He's doing well.
I'm going to let my cat in. I can hear you.
All right, perfect. Yeah,
She's getting upset. Perfect.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, between them both, some more Chelsea blue group, whatever they are, potentially incorporated into their team at some point, because they're both at Strasbourg, right?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Imagine it's not unlikely scenario that plays out where you can have him
almost a full
and Barco, and everyone else in there at the same. Like, ridiculous.
Sanchez, Cucurella, Colwill.
Sanchez, Cucurella, Colwill, Caicedo. Who else did they nab?
Enciso.
Oh, João Pedro.
So that's what, eight players. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, what do you? I mean, talking to Chelsea, how did you like the huddle nonsense yesterday? What did you make of that?
Didn't see it. What happened? Tell me, educate me.
You've not seen this, so have you seen anything about the fact that the Chelsea players are going into a huddle before the start of a game? Now they are going and huddling around the football and giving some bullshit speech to each other. Have you seen?
It doesn't surprise me because it's just Rosine. It's just very Brent, isn't it? It's just David Brent. It's just Gareth get the guitar sort of.
So they do the pre-match chat with can't remember what even the bloody referee's name is, but they give the pre-match chat. They go walk off. He's stood over the ball, the referee, and the Chelsea players come back to huddle the ball, and the ref doesn't move. And what proceeds to unfold, I've just sent you like an Insta reel of it, is one of the most awkward moments, actually almost straight out of an Office.
Oh, I did see that. I did see him look up. I did see some memes on this.
They just surround the ref And Doom in the chat said it was some American BS. I'm saying this is an American. Like, I mean, I said to somebody else that I was really, I mean, I was very keen on Rosinia being our next manager, regardless of whether Hertzler stayed another 3 years or whatever. Like, he has great history with us, was a really good guy, was a really good player for us before we went to Chelsea, especially. I really hoped he would be our next manager, be it 2 or 3 years from now, or be it this summer. But for me, what a dick he's coming across. He said it was like disrespectful of the football for the ref to do that. He like lost his mind. He's going to contact the ref association to follow up on this. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He almost, and somebody else said it, but I think they're really, really correct. He almost reminds me of the Eubanks with his mannerisms and the way he speaks almost sometimes, which is just the theatrics of it all, right? It's just, I don't know what has happened here, but he's a bit of a knob, isn't he? To be honest.
I think that the stuff where people are sort of doing the office comparisons or whatever is because he strikes you as someone that seems to have sort of is like cosplaying as a manager and has like read about how managers work and has like watched a bunch of YouTube videos and maybe has used ChatGPT and stuff. And is like, okay, I think I can pull this off. That's what it feels. It doesn't. It feels unnatural. I think is the problem. That's what it comes. It comes across as very contrived and unnatural. His management style. Having said that, generally they ain't doing that bad under him. They've been doing very well under him. So we can all hate as much as we want, but results-wise, yesterday aside, they were on a pretty good run under him, weren't they?
Well, and they got absolutely slapped by PSG as well. And had to beat Wrexham on extra time and down to 10 men. And they lost to Arsenal away with 10 men. And they drew with Burnley at home with 10 men. So no, actually, really, their disciplinary is terrible. They can't beat a bunch of Hollywood Deadpool teams. And like they are actually their only win has been against the most floundering Villa side we've seen in a long time. So actually, maybe not so much.
Well, yes, with all that. But they're still sixth in the table and they're 3 points off fourth. So like,
yeah, they're there or thereabouts. That Champions League run. Talk about mini tables. That's shaping up as well, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but let's go back to the mini table in the Premier League because you talk about how it doesn't matter, and I like the way we're saying sort of if Milner goes down or whatever, like sort of a horse in the Grand National. It's like, yeah, he's not going to make it. Get the gun. But there's
we've just had Cheltenham week, and there's been quite a lot of discussion around horse deaths. Over
I did see something like that. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's yeah, I don't love that. Just do the flat ones. What's the flat one? The Derby.
They die then as well.
Just on the flat. Well, that's more of a horse problem than the race at that point, isn't it?
Because they're like 2 or 3 years old and they juice them up to the gills on horse steroids.
Oh, isn't that what they did to Messi?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So we've got. Where's this gap here? So we've got 7th at Brentford on 44 points, and 14th is Palace on 39 points. And we're right in this sort of melee on 40 points. But that's what does European football go down to? Did you say this year?
It could, depending on cup winners, go all the way down to 8th for the Conference League.
So,
but likelihood is 7th.
All right. So the top of this mini league is going to get European football, and maybe the runner-up will get it as well. And wait, that could be us.
It's giving championship playoff running, isn't it?
It does.
Like, there's like 12 teams that can all make it on the final day, and like the people on like Sky Sports are losing their mind because they're just every goal there's like a whole new playoff lineup.
Well, exactly, but it's also every single team in this little grouping is the meme. Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit meme.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because not one of us in this grouping has shown any form of consistency throughout the season of being anything but coin flippy in certain instances. Like, if you look at sort of goal difference of everyone in this grouping, it's just all sort of crap.
We're the only ones on positives, actually. Us and Brentford.
Us and Brentford, yeah. But Brentford has the best at +4, and Sunderland with the worst at -5. That's not a massive swing when you look at Arsenal on +39 and Wolves on -30. And as you say, when we look at goals for and goals against, we've been quite unfortunate in some of these, and in that Fulham are currently above us and have scored 1 more goal but conceded 7 more. Like, this is so this long-winded point in the last 5 minutes talking about this table is the difference of us making European football and then coming 14th could well be a 40-year-old man getting injured.
Yep. And I mean, look at it right now, right? 30 games played, 10 wins, 10 draws, 10 losses. Like, that's just crazy. Consistently inconsistent to like an absolute nth degree, right? We are the experts at not being consistent at this point. Because isn't there like an ongoing thing where like our entire Premier League tenure almost is like played like 320 games and like almost evens across the board?
Yeah. But I tell you what, it strikes me as really crazy about this is that we know we can look at that and you go, okay, great. But we know how the way in which we go about getting to these stats is done in just the most frustrating way humanly possible. Lose like 7 games in a row, or whatever it is. And then actually, let's play good football and start winning games. We don't ever just do that on a regular basis, sort of win, draw, lose, win, draw. It's just win, lose, draw. It's like, come on. I don't know. It's and someone Dignity saying, isn't that this season? Yeah, but also that's been Brighton for the last 5-6 years. That's just how we've operated every single time. It's like the wheels are falling off, everything's going right. Oh, hold on, never mind. We turned it around. We're going to win a bunch of games. It's the same.
Yeah, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. Truly an open-ended question here because it is what it is. I'd just love to hear your thoughts. That was our referee for the day's 3rd ever Premier League game. How do you think he did?
The VAR decision was correct, right?
Yep.
He didn't send Minte off. Great. Fine.
I think it was right not to send him off. Do you? Do you think it was a send? The first one's definitely a yellow, right? But that second one is the guy knows who it is that's leaning on him, and he knows that he can try and get a yellow here, and he just goes down in the hope that 2 successive fouls might get that decision. But for me, that second one is not a yellow card foul.
No, but it's cliche. You've seen them given. If a referee hasn't just made an utterly egregious mistake during the game, which is 90% of the games where they do that, especially some crazy, horrible VAR decision, I would say in general, quite a good day at the office.
Yep. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I thought you did just fine. Just fine. No,
that's what you want your reviewers of a ref to be. In some ways, it's even worse to say, I thought the ref was incredible. Because you know the other team's like, this ref was shit. Yeah. So you kind of just want to, ref was all right.
Yeah, I think that is the ultimate optimal way. And I think the only thing I've seen from Sunderland fans online, I've seen a lot of the same feedback as you on the away fan turnout, is that for the most part, they're all quite upset Minte wasn't sent off. But you're at home, you're on a bit of a poor run. It's the chance that you want, right? Like get them down to 10 men, see if you can get a result. I can understand why you'd be frustrated. We would be too, right? In the middle of that slump, if we'd have seen a player not get sent off there, regardless of the fact that objectively it probably isn't a second yellow card, we'd all be livid. We'd be like, oh, typical. It happens to us on this run because they're on a bit of a poor run.
Also, who would we play on the wings?
Gruder, Tommy Watson. I mean, they're both gone, and they're having 2 very different runs, aren't they? Gruder's playing pretty regular football, but Tommy Watson is very much not.
Which is weird. Millwall, I know it didn't come off yesterday, but Millwall are in and around playoff stuff.
I almost think that's why, because they're in and around there and they're getting results, so don't mess with a winning team. It's a little bit like when Sarmiento went to Ipswich when they got promoted in January that year, and he barely got any game time. When he did, he ended up scoring 3 or 4 goals and played quite well for the cameos he made. But McKenna rightly didn't want to make too many changes because they were like second or top, and why would you make any drastic changes to that? And no one got hurt, so he never really got a chance to step in and be the guy. And I feel like Millwall, they may be having the same situation here. They're sat 4th in the league, and their form at the minute is not bad at all.
Well, they did get battered by Blackburn. I know they said they had a sending off 59 minutes in, but they got mauled.
Since he went there, since Tommy Watson went to Millwall, their run has been win, draw, win, win, loss, win, 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 loss.
Good mascot.
You're not going to change that, though, are you? You're not going to be like, right, 1 loss, get him out.
No,
get him out. Right. Get Tommy Watson in. He's just been quite unfortunate. But I think Gruder has played quite a lot of football, which is obviously really good for him and really good for us. Because I just can't imagine he's not going to be back in and amongst the squad this time.
Well, I think Nagelsmann was asked about Gruder not that long ago, as to whether he's got any chance of making the World Cup squad. And I think he basically came out and said we need to see him play more football and show more about what he's capable of, because we saw that ceiling-wise, it's high. You just
it is.
barely see this as ceiling is the problem. But there's a very good player in there. We just he's definitely one. Obviously, you hope put him back in Germany for a little bit, make him come good, and then bring him back, and he's going to be something special. At least that is the hope. What has he played? 5 games for them?
Yeah, I think so.
You see, he's got a goal and an assist in 1 game. But he hasn't played, and that was the only game he's played a full 90 in. But he didn't play the last game. The game that happened today, he was left on the bench and they lost it.
For half an hour, I think, didn't he? At the end.
Let's see.
Sure, I'd seen it that he'd come on for like half hour to go.
That sounds right. But that's the first game in a while since he arrived at the club where he hasn't started. And it's the first game they've lost. So that'd be a lesson.
Say no more.
That'd be a lesson to you, whoever the hell he's playing. Leipzig, yeah.
Liverpool next at home. Got to fancy that, haven't we? In the current run we're on, and the way they've just turned up against Spurs at Anfield, you've got to be optimistic and hopeful that we can get something.
Imagine letting the Pigeons score on you in the 90th something minute in a team that's about to fire the manager that they brought in for the one they fired just till the end of the season, and he's not even going to make it to the end of the season. Who did you see where he went up and tried to shake hands with Arne Slot, and it was just another ball?
It was his assistant, wasn't it? Was it one of his assistant coaches?
Probably, but it's just another bald guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that is wonderful.
Phenomenal.
That is wonderful. Yeah, I mean, not beating Spurs is a sackable offence for Arne Slot. But having said that, I just despise playing Liverpool. I just despise playing Liverpool. Every single time something stupid will happen. They'll be as crap as humanly possible as they have been, and then we'll have bloody Gakpo cut in.
Always Gakpo, isn't it? He's a dog every game, and then comes into play against us, and all of a sudden he's like a beer.
He's going to ping in right foot top corner. He did it to us, I feel like, twice last season. Once in the cup, once in the league. In like success when we played them in successive games. When was that? This season, last season,
yeah, it was.
Yeah, I hate him. I don't like any of them. I don't like any of them. But
then after that, we have a full 2 weeks off. Like, as in 2 full match weekends gone for the international break, I believe it is, right? It's got to be international break at that point. We play our next game on the 21st of March, and we do not play again until Burnley away on the 11th of April. Like, so 2 full Saturday, Sundays with no games at all.
And also, let's size this up then. So we're going to have a lot of time to think about this run-in, this final run-in. If you get anything against Liverpool at home now, and this is the time to do it, as we've said.
And they got Galatasaray midweek as well, by the way. Obviously, they are at home, but it's still another game of football to play with the form they're in as well. Like, it's just rough, isn't it?
And Galatasaray normally, historically, have been a bit rough around the edges in terms of maybe they'll crack someone.
It's FA Cup weekend. That's why. On the 4th of April, that weekend is FA Cup weekend. So Brighton do not play the weekend, but Man City do play Liverpool.
We then go, so on the 11th of April, away to Burnley. And then the week after that, we go away to Spurs. If you don't get 6 points from those games, I don't know what to think. And then you have a harder at home to Chelsea and away to Newcastle. 2 very tricky games, in my opinion. Then you have Wolves at home, which is 100% a loss. Wolves are going to win that game 1-0. Then Leeds away and Man United at home on the final day of the season. If you're a betting man for that mini league, can we reach the top 2 spots in this little thing based on that?
If we emulate last season's results, yes, because the last results that we had is win, win, draw, win, win, draw, draw, win. That'll definitely be enough.
Well, you say if we emulated any of last season's results this year? I feel like every time you bring that up, it's like we don't do it.
You say that we are 1 point worse off this season in
exact same team. Really?
Yep. We are 1 point worse off. It is worth noting that we go unbeaten against the rest of these and accumulate 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 points from them, though. Which is a big ask, isn't it?
That is an ask.
I think we're going to see some minus further. I don't think we're going to be finishing on around the same points. I think that this run-in will be where we start to see a drop-off. But
we found some form. And this is the time you want to find form. So hopefully goes back to what you talked about before when you have a break in games. Hopefully that little break doesn't kill any form of improvement, momentum, whatnot. Based on the fact that we just had a bit of a 10-day reprieve and we didn't show any signs of that going away, then the hope is whatever happens against Liverpool, you go and spank Burnley and you go and spank Spurs. And I'd quite like to be the team that kills off the last 2. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
It would be great. There's 2 things I want to touch on. 1 Brighton and 1 Premier League. What do you want me to hit first before we wrap?
Well, we are Brighton podcast, so
let's do Premier League first and then finish on a Brighton pick. Yeah. So who's your pick for going down now? Looking at that bottom. Well, obviously Wolves and Burnley are gone, right? Like, they're done. But out of that small group that are left, which we are now no longer a part of, thank God, right? Because it was only 4 games ago, we were right there with them. And look how much a difference a couple of wins can make. We're now totally out of the conversation. And I can only imagine what those betting odds are now when they were like 25-1 at one point. I'm sure they're not even sure they're being given at this point. Who's your pick for that group to go down from here on? I know the heart wants Spurs. We all want Spurs. I don't even dislike them, but God, it would just be
funny. I just want to see teams in the Championship play at that stadium.
Yeah,
just be like an FA Cup day out for them each weekend. So what's going to be really interesting is next weekend we get Spurs versus Forest, and that's going to be
massive, isn't it? Massive.
That's going to be funny to see. I want to give you an answer then, quite honestly. I tell you what I think might happen, because Nuno, the ability to get West Ham out of this spot, I think I have a horrid feeling Leeds are going to find themselves dragged down into this properly, and are going to be the ones that fall into 18.
If we can relegate them at their place, though, that would be
funny.
That would be brilliant.
But I have a horrid feeling it's going to end up being Leeds, and the others just like claw their way out of it. But I would be quite happy to see Forest go down. I'd be quite, obviously after the 7-0 and all the BS that we get. It'd be fun. It'd be funny because they've been giving it the big one.
God,
all the history we've got, we're back. We're in European football. Get back in your box. That would be really funny. West Ham have done this too often. West Ham love going down to the Championship every 8 years. It's boring at this point. At least we wouldn't have to go to that stadium, which would be nice for the away fans. Spurs, as you say, it's just the dream.
That's the pipe dream, isn't it? Like, that is the one. That's the unicorn. Spurs going down. The ideal one I said the other day was Spurs go down and Wrexham go up to immediately replace them in the Big Six.
Because
they would, in media wise, right? Like, Villa fans would be fuming, wouldn't they? Because they would have been Newcastle fans, because they'd stay in that other 14 group immediately, because Wrexham's media presence would be just immediately overshadowed. And it would be very funny watching that level of meltdown. They actually did the Manning cast. Of course, you know the Manning cast.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, so, I tune in on the regular. Yeah.
So for those who don't know the Manning cast, for the NFL, the American football, I think it's usually Monday nights, isn't it?
Always Monday. Yeah. ESPN2 or whatever.
They'll have like ESPN2 or Sky Sports Premier League as opposed to main event. They will have the Mannings do the commentary and the play. Like, they'll do their version of it. Well, this week, Wrexham played Swansea, and they did the exact same thing. They did the Rob and Ryan cast, and it was just stupid, as you would imagine. But you can only imagine how much the Premier League is just like salivating at the idea of this, right? So, like, imagine Spurs going down and like not even getting much coverage because no one cares because Wrexham went up. They would just
And I think the difference is that the Manning brothers are two Hall of Fame quarterbacks, winners of multiple Super Bowls, that know what they're talking about. So when you listen to them, and by the way, the show's fallen off for people that watch it it's fallen off. All I want to hear them talk about stuff that's going on in the games, and they end up bringing on these idiots, other celebs, kind of like Ryan Reynolds, and they talk about stuff, and it's just like, I don't want to hear this, man. Just chat, just talk about the football. That's the difference. Ryan Reynolds and the other guy, what are they going to add to the conversation? They don't know jack about football. That's the difference. But you're right. The media are going to love it. The media are going to have their way with it. And in some part of me wants to see it just from like a narrative standpoint. I don't want them to win, but I'd like to see them come up and just create a little bit more silliness. And it would be interesting to see what behavior it encourages, as to, we already get rich people buying League One, League Two teams already. But the idea of what is actually possible.
Birmingham, notably, right?
Exactly. And don't you have, you've got JJ Watt invest in Burnley, doesn't he?
I was going to say JJ Watt, yeah.
And you've got other super rich business people that buy these whatever clubs. But the idea that being shown, proven out, that if you do it the right way, you can go up like 4 leagues. Is that right? Is that what it would be in the end?
It would be, yeah. Conference to the...
Like, that's fairly groundbreaking. So I think it'd be quite interesting to just see that, have it proven out. But
it would be funny because a lot of people just go, oh yeah, like they're just Hollywood FC. They've had loads of money spent on them. The lower leagues are littered full of multi-millionaires and billionaires throwing money.
Yeah, what do you think? It's just peasants that own these clubs?
Yeah. And there's a few that are incredibly rich, right? Coming in and spending money on these teams that just go to nothing. So they've done a good job. But I just find it quite funny to think of those two swapping places. It would just be extremely amusing to me. But let's finish on a Brighton one, and an optimistic piece, definitely, like a very encouraging one. Something we have long bemoaned over the last couple of years, or just almost our entire Premier League tenure. Leeds at home, win. Sunderland at home, draw. Sunderland away, win. Burnley at home, win. 10 points from a possible 12 from the promoted 3 this season. How long have we not put away those teams over the last couple of years? And that, for me, is a big reason why we are on that just -1 away from where we were last season. We are losing games we're probably more expected to lose this season, right? Your games where you're kind of away at Old Trafford and you're losing a game. Maybe you're away at Anfield, you've lost that one as well. Away at Arsenal, where we lost, which we drew last season, right? These are all games where we were picking up results last season. Man United away, of course, we won. I think that was the last time we saw Solly March. But we are now beating the shit teams. And that is so much better in a way that gives you a lot more confidence going against teams like this, doesn't it? We are now beating the bad football teams for the most part, unless it's Wolves, where we just continue to give them points because they're almost like hilariously bad. So it feels like we have to give them something.
Yeah, I hope we can. I hope we can draw positives from this, because I think that the big benefit is it gives you hopefully some level of predictability. You want to be able to say we can beat this side and then end up beating them. That said, part of the sort of magic of this club over the last few years has been this giant killing potential that we've had. And I would hate for it to go away at the cost of that. Like, I don't want it to be a switch off, switch on situation. It's still nice that we could go out there earlier on in the season and beat Man City 2-1. Right? That's amazing. And I certainly wouldn't want us to get into a position now where we go out against the Arsenals, Liverpools, Man Cities, Chelseas, and our default is that we're going to lose. Whereas before, our default was a little bit more like, tell you what, they try and play football, we're going to teach them a lesson. I don't want to lose that. I really, and I think I'm stating the bloody obvious, but you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, and to be fair, I just counted them up while you were talking. But of the 30 games we've played this season, only 7 have the same result season on season. Only 7 games that we've played have actually been the same result from the season to last. And funnily enough, City at home was one of them, where we beat them both times. Villa at home, we lost away both times. Anfield away, we lost both times. And there's a couple of others littered in there. Fulham away, notably, we lost both times, and 3 times, and 4 times, 5 times. And I think every single year we've been in the Premier League with those dicks. But yeah, I thought it was quite notable that actually we've only won or drew or lost, whatever, 7 of the same, where we can go same result year to year. And they are all Big 6 teams, funnily enough, for the most part, and we're winning or losing against them. So it is interesting. And yeah, I'm really excited about the idea of relegating Leeds at Ellen Road now.
Well, let me give you one last little bit of the pure hopium. And I don't even know if this is still possible. It's still possible. The long shot Wolves survival.
Oh my goodness, you're not doing this, are you?
The long shot Wolves survival. Because surely the dream is Wolves.
They play Monday night now. They've got a game in hand.
I said, who doesn't want Wolves to smash Brentford right now? Because that would be great for us, great for them. They put themselves on 19 points. It's such an unbelievable long shot. But the idea that Wolves stay up and like Spurs and Forest go down is just, I'm genuinely salivating.
Not to give you too much hopium, but if they do beat Brentford tomorrow, we've talked about this already, but their next 3 are West Ham, Leeds, and Spurs. So it is genuinely doable.
Spurs have got some important games coming up, haven't they? We got to bring in, surely, the phrase relegation 6-pointer is going to be wheeled out like an unbelievable amount in the next few weeks.
Well, it's got to be. Sunderland away, Forest at home, Wolves, Leeds. Tough big 6-pointers. And when they're not playing them, they've got teams like Villa.
Villa have fallen off.
The fall off has been unbelievable.
Never against us, but they've fallen off.
That was their last win in the Premier League, was us.
And
even then they had to scam an own goal, right? They didn't even score themselves.
I need someone to make one of those little things that where people do the little cycles with the arrows, and I need it for Unai Emery, where it's like wins a few games, everyone says one of the best managers going, yeah, and then it's like, oh, suddenly regresses and falls away in the league every single time. He's terrible. Then it's just this is just standard Unai Emery at this point, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, I agree.
What a fraud. Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Well, we'll be back next week. Early kickoff on Saturday against Liverpool. You're going to be up early for it?
Well, how early are we talking here?
12:30 here. So what? 8:30.
Well, hold on. When your clocks still haven't changed, whereas ours have, right?
No, they don't change until the end of the month. So actually, you should be only 8:30. So you
8:30. I think I'll just about be able to make that. Don't worry. Yeah. Perfect. I'm feeling good at there's bizarrely a Scouser that lives around the corner from me here, 2 minutes away. Big Liverpool fan, and I would love to be able to give him a lot of shit for winning this game.
Just go smash his windows, yeah.
Yeah, could do. I won't be that popular with the neighbourhood if I did that, but yeah.
No. HOA fines coming in big time.
God, yes, you never catch me with an HOA. The people listening from England will be like, what the hell are these idiots talking about?
Yeah, for anybody listening in England, which is most of you, HOAs are as bad as they sound from experience of people living there. It's terrible.
By the way, last point is I'll tell you what, I feel like it's been a while since we've had this enjoyment of the multi-sports weekend where to me this is peak living. And everyone is going to have different preferences, but I've got the golf on right now in the background here. The players, we've had a sprint race weekend in the F1. We've got a Brighton win. This is good stuff. I mean, we're not too far off of here. I mean, the only better time you get is when the NFL season comes in at the same time. But in some ways, it's too much. I don't get overwhelmed.
Sensory overload.
Yeah, and I've got the second screen going, and I can't focus. This is nice. We're in a nice place right now. But,
no, it was beautiful. I'm not a morning person at all. So Britt took the first half of the drive up. Like she drove halfway, and then we swapped. So like for that first 100 miles, I had the phone on, and the sprint replay, like qualifying, like quality on the phone. So I got to watch all that, and then get there, win, lovely. Come home, wake up, watch the actual Grand Prix. Lovely.
Great stuff. It's great stuff. This is what it's all about.
It is. But we will be back next week to talk Liverpool before the long break. Where I'll be going to Burnley. Got my tickets last week. So
sorry to hear that. Yep.
Yeah, the game last year was absolutely dire. So hopefully that was the hilarious own goal, weird like keeper mess up. I don't know if you remember that, but it was like Muric, I think it was. It just like rolled over his foot and went in.
I do vaguely remember that. I mean, well, hopefully you get to watch a decent match in the sense that I mean they're sort of close to rivaling Wolves for being abject. So,
but say what you will about Scott Parker's Burnley, they play a lot more fun and that's part of their problem. To be fair, they actually play quite open and quite fun, and that's why they lose loads because their players aren't very good. But it is quite entertaining to watch them at times, which is unusual for Burnley. Whenever I watch their highlights, they are quite mad. Like they go end to end. They're well up for it.
Yeah, it's great. Conceded 58 goals so far.
Exactly my point, right?
Yeah,
the players aren't good enough to play the way he wants them to play. But like, I don't know if I'm a Burnley fan, I'd rather probably be watching that relegation than maybe the year Dyche finally aged out of Burnley and like got them relegated, and they were just awful.
Well, there was a manager in between there though. Misery loves company, so
that's Bayern Munich manager Vincent Kompany. Thank you very much.
True, they just lost, so there you go.
Oh, well,
2 sendings off, I believe. Anywho,
all right.
Well, thanks, Paul. Catch you later.